Well, today on Nation, a window cleaners podcast, we're going to talk all about Waterfed, like an in-depth look at Waterfed. And I'm telling you, you probably do Waterfed, but you probably didn't know some of these things. So we're going to talk about it. So if you're in Waterfed or just window cleaning at all, maybe thinking about getting into it, stay tuned to WCR Nation. What's up, everybody? Jersey here from windowcleaner.com. And you are here. What is up? If it's your first time here, have a look around. Welcome. Enjoy 7.5, almost 8. Next month is 8 years of content every single week. Have not missed a week yet, knock on wood. Go back, listen, join the other millions of downloads, and hopefully you enjoy it. If it's not your first time here, thanks for coming back. Anyway. First off, if you don't know what Waterfed is at all, I've done videos on like Waterfed 101. I'll explain all the poles and systems. That's not this video or audio if you're on Spotify. By the way, real quick, if you're on Spotify, leave a comment, share the podcast, follow the Spotify channel. I'm really love to see when people do that. Anyway, what we're actually talking about is like in-depth thought on Waterfed, like more than you would on just like, how does it work? And that's definitely something you need to know. Go back and listen to that. The second thing, if you need Waterfed, you want to get into it, or you want to see if it works for you and you haven't gone back, you don't want to watch the other episodes, literally hit me up. That's what I do all day, every day, is get people into like gear that makes sense for them. You don't have to spend the most. That's not the thing. Unless you're doing 9-story buildings and you have 4 people on it, don't go crazy. Just do it right. But call me, let me know on that. Anyway, so Waterfed is absolutely incredible. And I'll tell you, if you think that Waterfed is not good, you're like, I used it, it's not for me. You didn't give it a chance because you have to learn it. Even if you're a window cleaner, it's a new thing. There's not one person who's used it right that has ever been like, yeah, Waterfed's not great. It is phenomenal. Phenomenal. I've been in Waterfed for 16 years. I mean, way back, when there wasn't even really carbon fiber tubes. They were carbon composite. It was like this weird graphene. Anyway, long time. And I'll tell you, I would not be a window cleaner without Waterfed. You can't use it in someone's living room or, inside of a restaurant or something. But for everything else that you can use it for, it's phenomenal. It cleans better. It is faster, it's safer, it's all of those things, right? But there's certain nuances to Waterfed that you may not have either known, or if you're new into it, you don't even know that they kind of exist yet. Waterfed is absolutely amazing, but it's still something you have to do. And I always liken it to this. If you went up to anybody in the street and you said, hey, here's my squeegee, clean that window, it's going to look awful. They're going to go, oh man, I'm not good at this squeegee. I got to practice. You'd be like, yeah, you just got to really practice on that. It takes some time to get used to. And you both laugh, you walk away. Now that same person hands somebody a Waterfed, cleans the window, and that does not turn out great. And they're like, this thing doesn't work. What? It's science. Like literally the way the water is purified and then how the water acts once purified is science. So saying it doesn't work is absolutely not right. That's just you not knowing what's going on, right? But the thing is with a squeegee, I know if you do it right, it cleans. If I give somebody Waterfed, they don't know what's actually going on. And they've never seen it before. So they use it and go, this thing doesn't work. I want to return it. It doesn't work like I thought. You have to... It does work. You don't do it right. Okay? So put that out of there. We get calls... Not regular, but we sell thousands of systems a year. So obviously there's some people who don't even give it a chance. They're like, yeah, I used it in my house and the windows are spotted, so it doesn't work. It's broken. I want my money back. It's like, nope, it's not broken. You just got to learn, right? What's the TDS out of the water? Well, it's 0. Okay, that's 0 chance it's a system then. That's what that's saying. Anyway, I digress. A little venting from somebody who deals with people all the time doing that. But there is a process. You do have to learn it. There is certain things you have to do. And I will tell you, absolutely stand and die on this hill. By the way, there this is the most common thing I think I hear people say when they're getting into it. They go, yeah, I'm scared it doesn't do as good as a scrubber and squeegee. Well, it does better than a scrubber and squeegee, and I would die on that hill. The reason is because with a scrubber and a squeegee, you scrub the water on, agitates the glass, the squeegee removes it. You don't do the frames, you don't do the seals. You may wipe the things down, but you don't clean them. With Waterfed, you clean all of that. And there's no residue left. There's no streaks left. There's no drying in the sun and you not catching it and then having this weird little like dry spot that's on the glass. There is no problem with the sun being at your back or you being in the shade or you being in the rain it always cleans. Now, it has to be done right. Also with Waterfed, I always tell people, they're like, well, it doesn't clean as good as scrubber and squeegee. What if there's paint? Well, your scrubber and squeegee doesn't take off paint either. That's a scraper, that's a razor, that's something different, right? That same thing comes into Waterfed. There's attachments. You can do zero contact scrubbers and you can do walnut pad attachments and all of those things. You could even put a scraper on a pole technically, though I wouldn't recommend it having like a razor above you, popping off and coming at you. Those things are so sharp that just looking at it sometimes can cut you, right? So I wouldn't do that, but it will always clean better than a scrubber and squeegee once you get it done right. I'm telling you that. If you've used Waterfed, and by the way, listen, I truly do want to say I am a rep for windowcleaner.com, so take it all with a grain of salt. It's just me talking to you about my own personal thoughts. But if you literally have questions, because you can't go to like a corner store, please reach out and ask me. Text me, call me. It's what I do all day, every day. You may even hear my phone ringing in the background right now. I'll get back to you, by the way. But we'll figure things out. But here's the real piece to the puzzle. If you've used Waterfed and you say, Waterfed doesn't do as good as a scrubber and squeegee, A, you're doing it wrong, okay? No, I'm doing it perfect. I did 3 windows. I think I know what I'm doing. You didn't. I've been window cleaning for 20 years. You didn't use Waterfed for 20 years. Just please practice. I promise you'll get perfect at it. By the way, before I sold my company, we went 2.5 years without a complaint, without a callback. And that's in every crew, every truck we ran. And every crew and every truck we ran, except for our route guy, did have Waterfed. The route guys were the only ones that didn't have Waterfed. It's crazy. So I'm telling you this, but it has to be done right. The other piece to the whole puzzle is knowing what you're doing, right? You have to kind of see it, and then you have to make sure you feel it, because you can't see up there 2-3 stories. You just have to feel it. It has to kind of get into that. But here's the process, and I'm going to tell you, this is the part that some of you, I'd say probably still 30%. I get this almost daily still. People are like, oh, I didn't know that. This is the process to clean a window. You scrub the frame, up and down on the side to side on the top, up and down on the left. Then you rinse the frame. Down the side, across the top, down the thing. Then you go into the glass. You scrub the glass up and down, all over, and then side to side at the top. Go down to the bottom of the glass and go side to side on the bottom. The reason is because the bristle flax is where you'll leave lines if you don't. If you just go up and down, the bristles go like this, and then when you pull back down, they don't actually hit that top part. By the way, I forget most of you aren't watching this on video, but I was just doing a dumb hand thing. And anyway, the bristles fold unless you're using like the Zero Light brush or something where the bristles are always open. So you go side to side, because then the bristles won't fold as much of the top as they do, right? But you have to scrub and rinse the frames, then scrub and rinse the glass. If you do not do the frames, you will get these white lines. Look like drips, dirty water drips. It's because the frames are still dirty, right? You have to do the process right. And I'll tell you, on a repeat window, that's what it is. But You have to feel the glass. You will feel the difference of smoothness change when it's clean versus not. When you first put the water on there and you're first going up, it's like, and then you can feel it kind of go. As you go across the glass, it'll all uniformly feel smooth. If there's anything on the glass, dirt-wise, that didn't get cleaned off, you'll feel it drag more. You have to get in tune to that. That's how you feel when the window's clean. People are like, well, at 4 stories, how can you tell if it's clean? Because you have 5 senses. Eyes are the only one apparently you're using, but I can use more than that. I have a feel. I've done this a very long time. Well, I've done it for 3 windows now. I think I know what I'm doing. No, you don't. Take some. It's incredibly fast to learn, but you do have to kind of, put some effort into it, right? That's the process. That's the piece of this whole thing that works. And I'll get into troubleshooting in a little bit, like different scenarios, and then kind of we'll go over that. But if you do that process, you don't have issues. It's when you do something, part of that wrong, or also rinsing. Again, I'll talk about that in a second. That's when you start having some issues. And I'm telling you, if you've used Waterfed for years, it's been great, and all of a sudden now it's doing this, your water is still coming out under 10. By the way, you do not. I repeat, if you're listening, you do not need 0. You do not. By the way, I did this last week. It was awesome. If you're listening on Spotify or whatever platform you are, literally just drop a comment that says 10, 10. Because people who aren't paying attention aren't going to know, and you are, and I'm going to know that you were listening. So write 10 in the comment. You can comment other stuff, but just tell me that. Anyway. Under 10 is what we're looking for. Now, remember, the TDS, that's your total dissolved solids. That's what's in the water. The TDS is measured by ppm, another abbreviation. But ppm stands for parts per million. So when you tell me like, I don't know, what's my ppm? It's TDS, but ppm is the reading of that, right? It's like I put a gallon of gas, but I get 13 miles a gallon. I'm not like, how many miles am I pouring into my tank, right? So we're talking parts per million. So 0 to 10 is the exact same thing. You will not spot 0 to 10. If you go, yes, I will, I've done it. No, you did something else wrong. We're talking parts per million. Your eyes can't see that. Even if there is 10 parts per million in the water and you're rinsing, A, it's probably not going to stay on the glass. And B, even if it does, you're not going to see it with the naked eye. Parts per million. Under 10 is pure. You do not need 0. If you get 0, awesome. You need to be under 10. Some areas, water flows, temperatures, systems, some are always going to run at like 8 or 9. Some of them are always going to run at 0. That doesn't mean one is cleaner than the other. I mean, we're talking about like if you pulled the microscope out, maybe. Okay? I'm off my high horse on that. But that's it. The process makes the results. And always it cleans better than traditional. And not to say that you're not good at traditional. Traditional does really good, but Waterfed does really good too. It's always funny when people are like, well, those guys aren't real window cleaners. Really? 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 Anybody can do window cleaning with the scrubber and squeegee. Maybe not as fast as you, maybe not as good as you, but anybody can learn it, just like anybody can learn Waterfed. I don't get why, because you do this with your hand, that somehow you think that the other guys aren't window cleaners when they're making more money per hour than you. Well, yeah, so, people keep screwing up Waterfed and I'll keep getting customers. Yeah, that's the same with everything. If somebody doesn't do a good job, you're of course going to get it because, they're looking for somebody else. Anyway, I'm going to jump off real quick just to say a few things. Real quick, don't fast forward. I'm a rep for windowcleaner.com and I make every dime of my money from sales. So I know we're talking Waterfed, but I do every kind of sale. Any kind of order, big or small, I would love for you guys to be able to use me. My number is 862-312-2026. let me put your order in. It literally costs you nothing extra, but I get a piece of that, and I, can exist in this world. So thank you absolutely from the bottom of my heart. I say it all the time, and it just becomes noise, but really, for those of you who always order through me, it really does mean a lot. So thank you for that. If you want to be a new customer, you're probably already buying from WCR. If not, I'd love to put you in. We'll start you an account, all that stuff. We'll talk Waterfed. You want to talk Waterfed? We'll get you in your first system, or you need to order 10 systems. We can do that too. Secondly, if you haven't gotten the subscription to the American Window Cleaner magazine, Patty, by the way, on the cover. It's great. Get a subscription. This is a monthly magazine all about window cleaning. All window cleaning by window cleaners. Cool pictures. Come on. It's awesome. We're like industry nerds, right? We want to learn everything about everything that we can. So awcmag.com. Get a subscription to that. The magazine was started in 86. I've owned it for 3 or 4 years now, and there are thousands of you watching or listening right now. I love for all of you to have the subscription. And just to sweeten the deal, I threw it on the floor. But each episode or each issue comes with a sticker sheet. So if you haven't yet, by the way, Waterfed sticker reverse. There you go. Pretty cool. Go and get that awcmag.com. It's like $69 a year. So you get a whole year of magazines for less than an hour's worth of work. Go do that. Okay. Oh, also, I am now partnered with Jobber. Everybody talks CRMs. CRMs are super, super important. And Jobber, the only reason I'm doing anything with Jobber is because I went through, I've never talked about CRMs. Like if you've watched the show in 7 years, I've not talked about them because I've never found them that, I've done demos. Like, it's okay. It's good. It's nice. Like I use QuickBooks too as now for other things. And it's all right. I'm not going to talk about it because there's nothing blowing. I went through the last Jobber, which is now my second or third demo that I've done with them. It is absolutely mind-blowingly amazing. The stuff that they you can get a free, I'll put the link down, obviously. I get some credit for that too, but really, even if you don't go through my link, Jobber itself does absolutely everything for your business. Do the demos, free trial, plus you get 20% off for 6 months, whatever. But talk to them to do a demo so they go through stuff and you will be blown away. Don't do it on your own. Check with them. It's freaking awesome. I didn't swear. I said awesome. Anyway, okay, shameless plug done. There's a couple things in Waterfed that we always are focused on. One of them with the system is flow. The biggest issue people have is they go, well, my system, I'm not getting great flow. Okay, it's a maintenance thing. Let's check. No, it's all good. I checked. You didn't because it doesn't magically change. Okay, so let's talk about flow real quick in the advanced world. If you used the system yesterday, worked awesome. You used it today at the job, first job of the day, and it sucks. It's the PSI from the house. Now, before I say that, it is the PSI from the house. It's changed. No, I can see there's good flow. You cannot see PSI. It is impossible. Superman maybe can see it, but you see flow, not PSI. PSI is the pressure of the water. Well, it's blasting out. Yeah, I know, that's flow. PSI is in restriction, created PSI. PSI is what pushes against restriction. You can't see that. So don't get fooled there. But here's the biggest tip. If you're listening, you don't have to write this down because it's super easy. The number one, and I'm talking 99% of the time, the issue with flow is your pre-filter. No. I can see a pre-filter. Pre-filter looks good. It's the RO that the water stops. You can't see the pre-filter getting dirty. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It doesn't matter if it's brown or dirty or whatever. It doesn't matter if you changed it last month. When it gets gunked up, slimed up, if there's any kind of anything in the water, it's doing its job. It then drops the PSI. Even if you're getting 60 out of the tap, if the carbon filter is gunked, you're only now getting 20 to the system. That may not even be enough to push through the membrane. You're like, yeah, I'm getting a ton of wastewater. Yes, because there's no restriction in the wastewater going through the membrane. There is. So change your pre-filter always first. Now, if you change your pre-filter, still the water pressure is not great, and it is the first job of the day, or say this is the second job of the day, the first job did fine, say if the only thing that's changed is the job, it's the PSI from the job. As long as the water's getting past the bristles, you can use it. If you change a pre-filter and it's still hot garbage, they probably have a well pump or there's a water main break or something and their PSI is garbage. If it's not getting past the bristles, you're going to have to do it traditionally. If it's like a water main issue, the system's functioning and it's the bad water flow, so bad that you can't get the water past the bristles, that maybe happens to maybe 1% of the people who will ever use Waterfed, and maybe once every year or two it'll happen. Very, very uncommon. Don't go, well, this doesn't work it's your PSI. Just do it on another PSI. Do it on another system. I did their neighbor and there was fun. Yeah, there's lots of things that change in houses, right? They're not using the same spigot. You're not attached to the neighbors, right? Now, here's another piece to that. The flow is always dictated on the system, because a standard flow system is a half gallon a minute. That's a Zero Pure, Tucker, S4, Rival. That is a PWP. That is a IPC Eagle. Any of the standard flow systems put out a half gallon a minute. For you pressure washers out there, you're going, what? You can't clean with I know it's different. It's different, but hear me out. In Waterfed, we don't want a lot of flow. We don't want a lot of flow. So let me break this down. And all of you are going to go, I never thought of this, but let me break this down. When you go from a half gallon a minute to, say, the Zero Max, the Zero Max is a gallon a minute. It doubles the water flow. The Max is my favorite system we sell. It just is. It's fantastic. It's a gallon a minute. You go, oh yeah, so if we could do more, then it'd be even better. Hold your horses. A gallon a minute at the amount it puts out and the pressure it can put out is about the max you have with one pole. Now, there are some of you who say, no. When I do 8 stories, I need something. Yes, I know that's different. I'm talking about standard flow, standard height. Going up to the next level would be the triple. The triple system puts out a gallon and a half. Now, that water flow is a little bit more than you even want out of one pole. That's for if you're running multiple poles. Because let's do the easiest math you'll ever hear, but at a gallon a minute, 2 poles is half a gallon a minute in each pole, right? So 2 poles on a max is the exact same as having 2 standard flow systems. Now, 1 gallon a minute is fine, right? Like I said, if you have 2 people on a triple system, you're doing 0.75 because it does a gallon and a half by itself. That's still under 1 gallon. You're still fine with 2, but you don't want to run 1 pole on that. Now there's powered systems. You get into powered systems, the max power system will do 3 gallons a minute and can run like 4 or 5 poles at one time. Plus as high as you could possibly get. It can go higher than the poles that you'd want to use. But again, the flow changes. The more flow you have, the bigger the issues come in. And that's where troubleshooting comes in. If you have, say you're rinsing, your rinsing should only be within 12 inches of the glass. If you're like, yeah, but my pole's way lighter when I go way far away. Now, here's what's happening. As you can see, if you are able to see, it's creating mist when it hits the glass because it's getting shot so far out. By the time it hits the glass, it kind of spreads, makes a mist. That water is getting everywhere. If you check your water is under 10. And you're like, yeah, you know what? I'm still getting spotting. Rinse closer. Your spots are coming from your rinsing. You rinse too far back. Again, remember, if the water is under 10, there's nothing in the water, and you're telling me there's spots on the glass, it's impossible that it came from the water. If I tell you, there's 0 of something, you can't say, well, that's the reason. That's the reason it's doing it is because of those 0 things. No, it's 0. There's 0. There's 0 things. The minerals, the dirt is coming from somewhere. If you're splashing on the glass, again, if you have too much pressure, you're just, taking 1 pole on a triple, you're going to spot every window, basically. If it's splashing, The water's getting onto other things that aren't clean, siding, soffit, fascia, everything. And of course it gets back in the glass. When it gets back on the glass, it's brought all those minerals. When the water dries, the minerals are left, you get spotting. Boom. I just solved every spotting issue you probably all ever have. Now, we talked about drips. If you're seeing those, that's coming off the frame. Spotting is coming from the rinsing. There's another piece to this whole thing, and that's V's on the glass. And let me explain this. You guys have seen it. You probably know what I'm talking about. But this is the third piece to the puzzle. This is not spotting. This is not drips. This is nothing white on the glass. This is like, hey, when I'm all done, there was like still a little bug butt on there. When you're rinsing, you have to look at it so you get the glare. But the water should be sheeting completely. If it's not, that's hydrophobic glass when it beads up. I'll explain that in a second. But if it's sheeting perfectly, then that means there's nothing on the glass. If there's a bug butt on there, when the water sheets down, it hits that and then creates a V around it. And you can see it. Oh, something's still on the glass. Let me flip it over, use a zero contact scrubber, get that off, rinse it again, it's gone. I can't even see the speck that's on the glass, but the water's telling me. That's how I get specks off there. Those are all the pieces to this whole issue of, they don't do good, I can't get good results, this thing doesn't work. No, it's you that doesn't work. And that's cool. Like, you can learn. You probably also weren't great at, squeegeeing in the first place. And even if you were and you're some weird, freaky anomaly, then you're just not great at this right out of the gate. And that's okay. It just takes some time to hone it in. You have to watch. I've had people literally tell me, I've done all of that. I'm doing all of that. You're not. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm doing it absolutely perfect. The system is perfect and it's still spawning. No. This is not a mystery. This is not like, I wonder if the leprechaun. No, this is science. Here's the thing. If your car runs out of gas and you don't put gas in it, you can't drive it anywhere. Like if you run out of gas, and you go, well, yeah, but I just filled up yesterday. Okay, but there's still no gas. So we hear this all the time is because people don't understand Waterfed. And that's totally cool. It's kind of weird. It's kind of like magical wand. You see a lot of people do it. When you're doing window cleaning for the first time, clean with Waterfed versus like I'm here every month, the speed is way different. When you watch people, especially online, they're going, done. Yeah, that's how fast you could do it. But some windows take longer, Some windows may take a full minute. Some windows may take 10 seconds, literally. It's all the dirt and what they feel on the glass. But it has to be done right. Always has to be done right. You can't just magic wand it, right? Those are the big issues with that. We talked about flow issues. We talked about, bug butts on the glass, but we also talked about spotting and dripping. But there's one other thing that people tend to ignore. And I promise you this is not a sales tactic. It's not at all. Just hear me out. If you buy a Lamborghini and an Acura, they both will get you to the grocery store. They both will bring you to Target. One a little bit more in style, one would be faster, one would be a little bit more luxurious, but they both do the same thing, right? One just gets there faster, if you wanted to. And if you're single and you own a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, well, that's a whole nother story of what it can bring. I don't think Waterfed pulls will ever do that. You got some weird partners if somebody's really attracted to your Waterfed pull. Anyway, I digress. So the difference between, say, a Pro basic grade carbon fiber, yes, it's carbon fiber, and the Destroyer class, we're talking the bottom of the carbon fiber class. It's not really the bottom, but it's close. It's basic, just basic grade. Yes, they're both carbon. They both have lifetime warranties. They both have the same clamps. They both use the same brush. They both use the same contact scrubber. But the Destroyer will always 100% of the time scrub better, harder, faster, and with less fatigue. Now, does that mean the Pro Basic is bad? Not at all. An Acura is a great car. But when you're looking at what you want to buy, you have to look at lots of different pieces, right? When you're younger, like my daughter's age, when they look at cars, they're like, okay, what can I afford? They're not like, oh, which, do I have it in the budget for a Ferrari? No, they're like, what can I afford? Well, this one looks like the best in that kind of, they're in the price shopping, right? That's where the Pro Basic comes into play. It's a great pull, good bang for your buck. It's on the lowest side price-wise for a good pull. It's not the stiffest or lightest pull. It's a great pull. Now, by the way, real quick on lightness, I'm going to destroy everything. It's not about the light pull. Light does not matter. They're all light. The difference between our lightest pull and our heaviest pull is like 3 pounds, 2 pounds maybe. I mean, a gallon of milk weighs 8 pounds, so it's not weight anymore. It's stiffness. Stiffness is where that brush is going up and down. If it's bouncing off the glass or it's flexing, you're using all these muscles to control. The stiffer a pull, if I could have one made of diamond and I didn't somehow weigh 1 billion pounds and cost $1 billion, I would do that. Because when I'm putting pressure on a pull for scrubbing, if I put 10 pounds of pressure and there's flex in the pull, I may only get 2 pounds of pressure up there. I'm only scrubbing with 2 pounds. That's like you going to the window and doing this. And then people go, well, it doesn't get stuff off. Yeah, that's you. No, I got carbon fiber pull. They're different. If I go into a destroyer class and I put 10 pounds of pressure on that pull, 8.5 may make it up there. Well, easy, simple things, 8.5 pounds of pressure versus 2 pounds, it's going to scrub better. Everything's going to scrub better. But the destroyer, that's the top tier, stiffest pull on the planet, versus the destroyer, or versus the basic, which is a good bang for your buck. Our most popular pull, we sell more of that pull than I think every other pull combined. But the difference between the price, you're talking $749 versus $1699 for the same size pull, same brush, same clamps. Very big difference, but the carbon fiber on that pull costs so much more. Thicker walls, longer overlap, ultra high modulus carbon fiber, so you're jumping classes of carbon fiber. That's why. So that's the difference in pulls. It's all the scrubbing and what you can do. If you go and buy a cheap pull off of Amazon, there's some pull out there, I forget what it's called, Aquamax or whatever. Anyway, you go in there and go, well, this pull is only $212 and it's carbon or it's whatever. It's garbage. This is why there are no fiberglass. They're very, very, like in the pro lines, you don't find fiberglass pulls. They're too floppy. You can't scrub anything. If you want to treat yourself to something, the systems are all systems. They produce, it's just gallons. Get a max. You don't have to go crazy unless you're running multiple pulls, multiple 9 stories, whatever. But the money is spent on the pull. The brushes, boar's hair is always going to scrub better. You know that. The contact scrubbers are amazing. But the pull stiffness is where you get the scrub. Now, do you have another $1,000 you want to spend for the same pull? That's up to you. It's very easy for me to tell you what to buy because it's not my money. But I'm telling you, out of every pull used, the destroyer is the best for scrubbing, for fatigue, for whatever. They're like, well, it weighs more. Yes, it weighs 2 pounds more. I don't care about 2 pounds. I don't think you care about 2 pounds either. Remember, it's not weight, it's fatigue. Yeah, when I clean this building, I almost have to take the next day off of work. Yeah, it's because you have a floppy pull. Not that that's bad. You just have to put a little bit more work in. Use a boar's hair a little bit more. Contact scrubber, warm-up pads, all that stuff. I'll tell you, I ran a little more than my 30 minutes here. So if you guys have more questions, even just want to talk about this, please reach out. If you want to buy your first Waterfed, please let me put that in. If you want to ask about an issue you're having, please let me know. Try the things that I mentioned first. I'm telling you, a lot of those issues are fixed. There is no such thing as bad resin if you get it fresh. You can let resin dry out at your facility, like, you left the bag open, that's bad. But you can't get a brand new system with bad resin. That doesn't happen. We buy it in literal containers of it. Just pallets and pallets and pallets of it. Like this, you can't have one batch out of a batch that filled 8 machines and you're the only one that had bad resin. It's not possible. Having a bad membrane, very, very unlikely. So we have to figure out what it is. It's a very simple process, but figure it out. Let me know. I'd love to help. I'd love to put your order in because, gotta make money. So I appreciate all of that. And if you guys haven't yet, please do. American Window Cleaner Magazine's absolutely phenomenal. It's so good. It's so good. I know there's a lot of you are like, yeah, it's a paper magazine. I don't want to look at it. No, it's not that. Have this, because if this magazine, every time it shows up once a month, the entire year, you get excited about business. Just to flip the pages, see some new gear, see some other people that are doing it, see some really just cool pictures of like cool projects and houses and phenomenal views that people have. It gets you excited for business just flipping through that, and that's once a month. It's an every single month reminder to get your brain in the game. So go to awcmag.com, get a subscription, please. And Jobber, that's the other one. Try a demo. Discount, get it all, but it'll blow you away. Until next week, go out there, and if you're not in Waterfed, get in Waterfed. If you don't have 100% confidence in it, please let me know. If you're looking to buy something, please let me know. But more importantly, go out there and be epic.